The main message I'd like to share about dying in death is that millions of people we know around the world, men, women, and children, just like you and me, have had near-death experiences. And what we know and what our messages are to you is that when a person dies, they're immediately healed. There's a sense of peace within them and tranquility. That there is a greater love than you've ever known before. Years after I was diagnosed with HIV and then had HIV symptomatics, I was diagnosed with AIDS complications.
My grandparents and my aunt called and they said that she probably wouldn't make it through the weekend. So I went over there, and when I saw her, it was devastating to see her so small and without her normal spark and enthusiasm and smile. You know, it was heartbreaking to see her at first and look at her in the doorway, and then once I saw her crack a little bit of a smile, it was just like love just pouring out from both of us to each other, and just ran over there and squeezed her and got in bed next to her, and just holding her and spooning her and loving her and kissing her, and that meant so much to me as well as to her, and just to like have that mother-daughter love, you know, be so strong.
Her warm body next to me felt so good because I was so cold. Sometimes it felt like, you know, my fevers were 103, and sometimes I felt so cold that my body shook like I thought it was an earthquake. I was shaking so hard. And her warm body really warmed me up physically and mentally and spiritually. And we didn't talk much that night because I was so weak. But telepathically, we talked a lot. And she knew that this was probably the time that it would be the last time that she'd be with me. And the morning she woke up and she says, "Mom, I'm going to go to your house and take a shower, and I'll be right back. Is there anything you want?" And I had the energy to say, "Yes, you to come back to me." And as soon as she walked out of the hospital room, immediately my spirit was lifted out of my physical body. And it was hovering over my physical body, and I immediately felt healed. I felt more alive and more at peace and more love than I'd ever experienced. And then all of a sudden, two spirit beings came towards me, and I sensed them to be male and female. I could see them, yet I could see through them. And telepathically, they said that they wanted to show me a review of my life. And I saw myself looking down. One scene I was in Russia, one scene I was in Los Angeles, when I was in Hawaii, and when I was in Japan, and all different scenes in different countries. And in each scene, some of the people I remembered, and some of the incidents I remembered, and some of them I had totally forgot about. But these spirit guides telepathically said, "Look at the difference you've made in these people's lives." And as I'm going through the tunnel of light, I want to say, where's Tommy and Raymond, my brothers that have died? Where are all my friends that have died? All of a sudden, the beautiful light of God comes before me and completely surrounds me, and we become one. Telepathically, I hear, "My child, unlike the time before, this time you have a choice. This time you can remain with me or you can return. But before you make your decision, I want to show you one more thing." And instantly, I was reliving, not reviewing, but actually reliving being pregnant with my daughter, feeling the very first kick with my daughter, giving birth to my daughter, and different things throughout Jeaneen's 19 years of life, doing different things with Jeaneen. And then all of a sudden a spark of light hit me. And as the spark of light hit me, I was back in the tunnel of light. And telepathically, the light of God said, "What is your decision?" I said, "I need to return to my daughter." Instantly, I was back in my hospital bed. Next hour to hour and a half, I could see every single cell in my body. Didn't matter if my eyes were open or shut. I could see every cell in my body vibrating with light. It was like effervescent bubbles bouncing up and down, every single cell. And I knew before long I would be out.
It definitely seemed like a miracle. Knowing that she decided to come back was the best thing I'd ever heard and ever felt. And she really did seem different too. I mean, even though she was the same weight and the same person in the bed, but when I came back, she definitely had much more color in her face and more energy and just had this sparkle in her eye again. And that was pretty intense and beautiful to see. I think she's here because her story is really powerful. Her love is really powerful. Everybody that meets her is completely affected by her and touched by her. And our love.
There's no fear. There's only love. That's all there is. And that's really all there is around here, too. We've just forgotten. We've become separated. We forgot that we are one with Source. We are one with one another. We are one with every kingdom there is. We've forgotten that we are all the light, that we are all the divinity, that we are all one within. I asked, what is my life purpose now? And what I was told is, show people how to break the silence about death and dying, bring the sacredness of life and death back. When I talk about the other side, the only thing I can say is I never went past the tunnel. I went through the tunnel, but I never went past the tunnel. I was given an opportunity to. I was given the choice if I wanted to or not. But after seeing and reliving being with my daughter, I said, no, I needed to return to her. So what comes after that light or after the tunnel, I can't tell you because I've not seen it. But it's got to be magnificent. It's hard for the person that is alive, that has lost a loved one. But I think if they can understand that, in my belief anyhow, that their spirit lives on and you can always communicate with them and you can always talk to them and they can hear you, that their spirit is around you. And so they're not far away. The veil between life and death is so thin. It's so thin.